Do you think there's a bias in journalism right now of how they portray African Americans? Do you think they only shoot certain African Americans or only have stories of certain African Americans, or do we put ourselves in that position?
I think sometimes we don't help, but I think more importantly, there's a cultural script about African Americans for everybody in this country who's not African American. And it is hard for people to walk in here with that cultural script that they live with for 2/3 of their day and turn it off when they get in here and have it not affect at all their approach to covering people of color. Too many people in this newsroom, and I suspect a whole lot of others, don't have, nor have they taken the time to develop the contacts in the African American community. So what often happens is there's a news story that touches somebody black, and everybody wants to run to me to help figure out who they need to talk to. Well, figure it out for yourself. It's not that hard. I don't have that issue when I have to cover communities that are not African American. I mean, I just got to pick up the phone and make the calls and dial. So yeah, there's some issues. I mean, and it's not that people are necessarily malicious. It's that they don't know any better. They haven't taken the time to school themselves. And so consequently, they're at a loss, overwhelmed, and frequently the decision is, well, since I don't quite know how to go about it, we just drop this and go to something I know. There's also a concern, because we're very much more now sales-oriented, that to tell the story of people of color too much, too often, will drive away those viewers that we want, that we say we want, in order to generate more commercial revenue. So consequently, I think that is a subtle issue. It's like we don't want a newscast that is too identifiably black because we'll turn off white viewers. I think that's fatuous and silly, but it's one of the calculations that we sometimes make in this business.
Do you think it's harder for an African American to do what you're doing now than it was when you started?
I think it is as hard. It's not quite as hard, but close. Look around. How many black men do you see doing what I do? Prime time, Monday through Friday, not a whole lot. Let's take Atlanta, which is a largely African American metropolis. I don't think they have one African American male who is the prime anchor. What they have are African American females, and that is a very strong market for African American female anchors. Each station has one, and they are probably the strongest anchors. Hooray, that's great. And I don't want to in any way undercut that, but if you ask about people like me doing what I do, African American males, it is, I think, not much easier. You'll see us in sports more, you'll see us in weather less, you'll see us in news as reporters and on the weekend and in the mornings and in non-prime time positions. But you don't see a lot of us in prime time positions, and so the industry still has, in my view, some more maturing to do on that.
What do you like best about your job?
History. I'm a history buff. And somebody once said, we who are journalists write history's first draft. I think that's true, and I like that. I like seeing events unfold. I like telling people about what's going on. I like being in the know and being able to share what I know. That's one of the things I like the most about this business.
What do you do in your spare time?
Try not to think about being in TV. No, I have some business interests I'm trying to develop. I use a fair amount of my spare time on that. I have this sweet little 2-year-old girl and a 24-year-old girl and a 20-year-old son, and so where I can, I like being with them, spending time with them. And of course, my wife. Let's not leave her out. But family is important to me. So in spare time, family is a good way for me to spend my spare time. Worship and where I can, service in the church is also important to me. Don't get to do nearly enough of it.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Increasingly not much. Stuff I grew up with in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. every now and then some classical. But if you go down and turn on the radio in my truck now, what you'll hear is talk radio. I do a whole lot of talk radio because it's the stuff I'm interested in at this phase of my life.
Who do you listen to when you listen to talk radio?
WVXU. It's NPR, and so it's a lot of NPR and American Public Radio offerings, that sort of thing. I'll tell you what, I like quote unquote smooth jazz. I listen to that quite often.